Howdy, partners, and welcome to Big Trouble in Little Podcast, episode 236. I am Joe Dubs.
I'm Andy.
I'm the Chaz.
I'm Zach.
He's unknown, friend of Arch Stanton. Oh man, I can't wait to talk about that part. Before we get into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I always like when I had to type out the title on YouTube and everything to get it out. I have like this dyslexia or whatever, and I was like the good, bad, and ugly, and I forgot there's like 3 thes in there, and I had to put end. So it's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Whenever I'm doing a Google search for this movie or something, I just put good, bad, ugly.
and when you go on YouTube and search for the good, the bad, and the ugly, it always comes up with the guitar theme. Like that's the number 1 search because it's badass.
Yeah, this movie just owns.
So
yeah, I would say like the music. If someone says the music in this movie rules, like which song? All of them. It's like, I mean,
Yes.
it's an epic one, but I love the. I mean, we're already there. I love the scene where he's running through the cemetery. Like that to me is just as epic. And there like been like renditions of that song. I think there's like a. Is there like a liquor company or something that uses that? There's like a modern rendition of that song.
I know, I heard it everywhere. But before we get into the movie,
Yeah.
we are streaming on a third platform because we usually do it on my Twitch channel, and we also do it on our Big Trouble Little Podcast channel. And we're also going to be doing it on my... Usually I cover TV shows, but I did write on the banner TV and movie coverage. So I am going to add Big Trouble Little Podcast to that channel since we do cover movies. So Couch Entertainments, hello everybody. If you like what you see, hit that like button. Comment down below in the box on whatever we're talking about in this episode. And just like how I put in the community post, I told you what the podcast is all about. We're a movie ranking podcast where each host chooses about 4 or 5 movies. We go through them, and then after we watch all those movies, we rank them. And then usually after we talk about movies, if we have any games or movies or books, we talk about it later on in the episode. So welcome, everybody. We are going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's take it away. So Zach, do you want to start off with this movie?
Yeah, I guess. I picked this because like I said before, I was trying to pick like important or big Western movies and kind of running through the general evolution of them, I suppose, in terms of like when they got big. Like Searchers is like when they're in their prime, I feel like. And then this gets into the spaghetti Western era, and we'll get into post-Western, and then after the genre is dead, pretty much, which is when we watch Young Guns and just have some fun.
Yes. So like obviously we have like a big shift in like tone a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the first one is, cowboys and Indians, and in this one is just fucked up robbers and shit, and the Civil War happening at the same time while they're trying to get money from the grave.
Yeah, it's just like 3 band, like one Lee Van Cleef plays like a mercenary, I guess, but like Blondie's a bounty hunter, and Tuco's just like a thief. He's just like a scoundrel,
just like a bandit.
Yeah, it's just like 3 guys who are like kind of on the fringe, or like, well, Tuco's just not within the bounds of the law, but they're like all 3 of these guys are kind of outside the regular bounds of the law, really.
They're ne'er-do-wells.
Yes. So there's no protagonist really in this movie.
Protagonist.
Even though they show Clint Eastwood's character with the good, it's like I don't know what that's necessarily supposed to mean.
Well, he's like the most popular. When
He's
this
the
movie,
most popular.
I mean, this movie was even marketed as like the third in the Dollars trilogy,
Yeah.
and Fistful of Dollars came out, and it was a remake of Yojimbo, and it did pretty well. A Few Dollars More came out, and it also did pretty well. Then this movie came out, and up until this point, spaghetti westerns were doing okay. They were making money, but people didn't think about them as like true film. They were just like nonsense. They were like the Marvel movies of their day.
Mhm.
And then this movie came out, and like up until this point, Scarra Leone and a bunch of other directors had done some arty stuff, but it was nothing was like nothing was quite as good as this movie. And this movie had like like an anti-war statement and like wonderful cinematography and just like a fantastic soundtrack. And people are like, holy shit, this is like a really good movie. And then people started regarding spaghetti western as a whole with a lot more circumstance to it. And that's where we get the impression of it today, is basically from this movie almost solely. This is the spaghetti western.
So I got a question for you guys. Clint Eastwood's character, the guy with no name, pretty much. He's Blondie in this one. Is he like us? He's just going through the story, because it feels like he's there, but he's not like the main character. Because I felt like Tuco was more of a main character than Blondie, in my opinion, even though they were, going back and forth and stuff with the whole desert situation. And then at the end where they're at the grave. But like Tuco's character had a big character development, because like at the beginning, you're just like, all right, they're working together. Then they backstab each other. And then we get this scene where he's talking to his brother and you start to feel bad for him.
Yeah, I guess I kind of sidetracked myself on that whole spaghetti western thing. But when they were marketing this movie, they did it. Oh, this is the third film in the Dollars trilogy. Clint Eastwood is the unifying thing about those movies, and he was the most popular person associated with the movie. So I think it kind of like ran away with that, and people started thinking, "Oh, this is a Clint Eastwood western," and people still think that today. Like, you'll be hard pressed to find a whole lot of people who know Lee Van Cleef's name, even though they should. Let alone Eli Watt, like they should, of course, but they don't. And I think that's kind of where it comes from. Is he's the most popular one, so when people come away from this movie, that's what they think about it. And also, like, he's assigned the role of the good, but honestly, like, he kind of betrays Tuco first. Like, Tuco's being an asshole. He's like, I want more money. It's my neck on the end of the rope and all this other stuff. But then Blondie just like, abandons him pretty much.
Yeah.
So he like started the whole thing.
Yeah,
and that, like the only character whose characterization is consistent throughout is Lee Van Cleef, Angel Eyes, because he's just a motherfucker the whole movie.
Yep, you pay him for a job, he's gonna fucking finish it.
And he slap bitches.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Jesus, he slapped the soul out of that woman. Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite character, just because of the actor, is Angel Eyes, because he was consistent. And again, since all three of them are just like assholes, he seems genuine out of the three.
If Angel Eyes was your favorite because of the actor?
Yeah.
Lee Van Cleef. Have you ever seen Fistful of Dynamite?
No.
Sierra Leone went on to do Fistful of Dynamite. Also, some movie posters call it Duck, You Sucker.
Yes.
He's the star in that. Clint Eastwood was doing other stuff, so Lee Van Cleef is the protagonist, the hero in Fistful of Dynamite. And that movie kicks ass. Like, a lot of people forget about it because it's not part of the Dollars trilogy, and it's also not Once Upon a Time in Whatever. But that movie's fantastic. Like, if you like Lee Van Cleef in this movie, watch that, because it's just that for 2 hours.
Yeah, I also love him in Escape from New York, by the way.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Tuco's character, I kind of like what they did with him, with the whole like meeting his brother and like having that conversation about his parents. Because like in my mind, I'm like, oh, now him and Blondie are gonna, be a tag team, and then like shit hits the fan again. Like at the end, the $200,000 is on their mind, and they trick you with the bridge part where they're just like, we might die. So one of us might die. Can you please at least tell me the information? And they would be like, what gravesite? And then Tuco would say it, and he's like, what's the name? And it'd be like Arch Stanton and all that stuff.
Well, that's another time when Blondie looks like the asshole because he isn't honest with him, but Tuco's honest. He told him the actual graveyard.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the good, the bad, and the ugly is just based off who's cooler.
Yeah. He's good. I don't think it's so much that he's good righteously. I think he's good. Like, damn, he's a good shot. Damn, he's good at not
he's
getting.
Good.
Yeah, he's just clever. He's savvy.
He's a good-looking son of a bitch. God, he's a handsome motherfucker.
That too.
Damn it makes me angry. I was like, Jesus Christ, look at your fucking jawline. I guess you can have hard opinions about things. Nobody gives a shit. It's like, you're just handsome. Say whatever you want. Fuck. Sorry, objectively. Anyway. I love this movie so much. I just look at that. It's 3 hours long. It's a great movie. It's great. But really, though, my stuffed up nose and shit. The thing I love most about this is we're already kind of covering it, but I feel like Tuco is more of the main character, or if there's any character, but it is more just three people that are intertwined and you follow everything. But Tuco gets the largest redemption and the largest arc or change because it focuses on how he's greedy, and he's still greedy to the core in a certain way, but it shows that he has layers and he's trying to do the right thing.
Sort of.
Initially for selfish intentions, but then it does seem like he's trying to do the right thing.
I don't know.
In other ways.
Cards on the Table. Tuco's my favorite character in this movie, and I love Clint Eastwood. He's fantastic. No, Tuco is the most interesting character, and he has the best scenes. And I think the point when you've matured is when you can finally come around to be like, no, Tuco's the best part of this movie. But it's like all that stuff with his brother, and it's so heartbreaking because he's like, you should get out of here. Our parents are dead. But you got to remember also, like, there's those 3 other Mexican bandits that he knows or something, and he tells them, oh, there's thousands of dollars. This guy has it. We're gonna go get them, and he's just using them. Blondie murders all 3 of them, and he just doesn't care. Like, he just used them to get to him, to get to them. Like, that happens before the part with his brother, who is now a man of the cloth. So you kind of like forget, like, he's the whole movie, he's both sides of the moral spectrum. Like the far ends of the moral spectrum, because he's a pretty cool guy. A couple of times they team up and they decide they're gonna blow up that bridge, and they're doing it for selfish reasons. They need the battle to move somewhere else, so if there's no bridge for them to fight over, these stupid bastards will go fight somewhere else. But also, like, it's kind of like a nice moment. The captain, the drunk, he's like, I wish they'd blow up that damn bridge. It's caused so many deaths and heartbreak, and I was sick and tired of it. And it's like kind of a nice moment. So there's a few things like that. But then the very next scene, he's like, all right, later, sucker. And he like takes the horse and like runs away so he can go get all the money. It's like, God damn it, pick a lane, Tuco. But that's why he's such a great character.
It's oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the stuff that sums him up best is like just a few seconds on screen of him doing anything. It's like when he's at the little church out there where his brother's at. He's like pretending to be blind and pretending to be like a Confederate soldier, and then he'll take his eye patch off and look around, and then like do the thing, and then take a drink from a whiskey bottle out of his coat pocket.
I love the way he crosses himself, because it's like up, down, right, left, up, down, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
Yeah,
he does it every time he like shoots somebody and kills them or something. Like he just murdered a guy and he still does it. It's like,
I mean, and also there's that whole thing. Oh, I think Blondie is supposed to be the good because of how savvy and stuff he is. Tuco has so many moments in this movie. It's like, wow, he's a badass motherfucker. Like, I love when he comes out of the desert and that guy's about to close up shop, and he comes in and he's no, you're open. And like he takes all the pistols out and is like taking them all apart, like finding the best pieces of each, and like listening to the cylinder click. And then he shows how good of a shot he is. And also, one of my favorite scenes in any Western ever is where he finds the abandoned bathtub and like dumps all the soda shit in it.
Yeah,
And the guy comes in, he's like, I've been looking for a chance to find you like this, and every time I try to use my right hand, I think about you, and I've had more than enough time to learn how to shoot with my left hand. And like,
Blam!
he doesn't say anything. He's just blam, blam, and then he like stands up, blam, blam, blam. If you have to shoot, shoot. Don't talk.
Yeah.
I almost 100% knew
so
that
great.
you were going to have this as your quote. I had it in there and thought someone's going to have this, and I took it out, and I'm glad I did because we definitely would have had this.
That's
quote.
the best part. I love it. So
It's my favorite part of the movie. The other is when he is trying to praise the soldiers he sees, and they're all covered in dust.
So
he's like,
Hooray for the Confederacy!
They're like, they get up,
who's his? What's his name? Lee. General Lee.
and he's like knocking all of the dust off, and they're like, ah, shit, and then they get in prison. So that is one thing I like, tying into like the historical side of it. What's really cool is this movie actually helps portray something that some other westerns don't, where you got to clearly pick a side one way or the other. And really, at this time, there was actually a lot of this whole like mercenary type of thing. You basically just chose what side was convenient for you to like do what you needed, and that's what happens in this movie. They pick and choose different sides according to what they're. Again, they may have their own alliance or have a belief, but really they'll kind of side with whoever to just get through what their own individual agenda is.
Yeah,
So,
like it tugs at both heartstrings from both sides because obviously you have the captain that was like, this fucking war, man, like let's blow up that bridge. I don't have the guts to do it. And then you have the other one where they're at the prisoner of war camp and like all the Confederates are playing music for the Union and shit, and they had to play louder so that they could beat people up in the cabin and stuff. And you're just like, fuck, man. Jesus.
well, that's fucked up. Yeah, like they're like listening to this guy get beaten to death and killed, and they're like crying, and he's like, "You keep playing, boy."
Well, not only that, it was
fuck.
implied that guy who was like the commander there, who was like injured. He was saying something about how there'd been like murders and thefts from the Confederate soldiers and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that part of that ties into Angel Eyes. Now, again, this is something I wasn't fully sure of. Maybe I missed this part. Squirrel brain. I'm gonna miss some of it, but was my impression of this just based on how the movie played out. Angel Eyes was not a part of the Union originally throughout, right? Like he actually joined later, or like found some way to like sneak his way into things and corrupt
my impression. Is he like came and like lied or faked his way in because the trail had grown cold on finding Carson, and he figured his best chance at finding this guy would be here. And also, while he's here, he gets to swindle and cheat and steal from these poor prisoners of war and also murder them.
Right. Okay, that's exactly how I have always taken that to be. And again, watching it this time, I was like, is there something more to this I'm missing? But again, it just ties back to what we were saying. And again, that's fairly accurate. And obviously, the Civil War doesn't just happen out in the West. Like, there's a bunch of other stuff there. They portray like certain areas near like Texas and stuff. But even in the East, there was a lot of that same theme where people would just casually be agents for hire to, do whatever to help one side or the other, depending on how, they would benefit them. It's just one of those untold things that's not really spoken of during the Civil War. Just kind of interesting thing I remember learning about. But anyway, I just thought it was kind of neat, and it's portrayed well in this movie. Usually it's like you pick the side, and that's the side you stand for, but not in this movie. It's like, oh, well, what'll get me the gold? All right, we'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's a paycheck.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, they don't. These soldiers, they don't care about, whatever they're fighting for. It's the generals and presidents and politicians. They care, and I think that's a part of the why this movie's portrayal of the Civil War is so popular. And people say, "Oh, this movie it's foreign." I'm surprised they got such a great view. You got to remember all the extras in this movie, all the Italians in this movie. This movie was made in 1966. Most of these people were alive in Italy in the 40s. Yeah. They know exactly what it's like to like get your ass handed to you in a war, like to have, 1 out of 3 people get killed or something, that kind of thing. Like they know about that kind of thing. So I think that helps color the portrayal of the war in this movie.
Right.
And
It's almost like good people can be swayed to do very bad things for a cause or an agenda of a larger group of people.
I mean, yeah, some just do it because they want food and a place to fucking sleep on sometimes because they're so poor.
Yeah.
And that's how, governments fucking operate and be shady and shit stuff. But one thing I wanted to bring up, two things actually. The the part where the captain's like, us in the South have, one thing in common. We love to drink. And he like opens up a fucking case of alcohol and shit and starts drinking it. And then the other part, the, the big guy with the fucked up eye and shit, like he like reminded me of like some Bond villain, like a henchman that was
Yeah,
beating up
kind of.
Tuco. And I love what Tuco. He's like, when I get you on the down, I'm gonna keep you fucking down.
You know who he reminded me of is Mr. French in The Departed.
Oh yeah,
He's like, oh, he's like the real sociopath. He's the one who like likes to beat people and stuff like that. I don't know. Because we just watched it, that was in my head. It just made me think about that.
I got a real Bluto vibe, from Popeye. He's like very hairy and like this like burly guy. It's like I'm really really tough and aggressive. I don't know. Sorry, it's a little more cartoonish of a take, but I saw him and I was like, that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, the
wrestler.
The line of that you mentioned, Dubs, when he looks like, I'm gonna get you down. It's gonna take you a long time to get up. You're gonna need a lot of help.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's obviously what he ends up happening whenever they jump off together. That's another scene that I like. The whole thing, he like beats him to death and is like a savage, and he's got to come up with a way to like get him out. He instead of like coming up with a different way to get the handcuffs to be broken or like setting it in a different way, he just puts him right in the middle of the fucking train tracks. It comes across. It just like seems like overkill. I mean, the guy's already dead, assuming, but or at least knocked out. But that was the way he went about it. It's ridiculous.
If he wasn't already dead, that killed him.
Yeah, he killed him dead is what he did. He killed him, and then he brought him back to life and killed him again. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was more brutality of the war too, like especially when they get to the train and you see that one Confederate soldier tied up in the front of the train and shit.
Oh yeah.
I was like, fuck. God damn. But the train track stuff, he had like a survival horror moment where he had to like save the bullets because I'm like, can't you just shoot the chain? But he's like, I guess I gotta save bullets unless there's no bullets in there.
Oh, I thought it was that it seemed like he got jammed, like he was gonna use it, but I don't know. It looked to me like a moment.
Operate. Yeah,
he couldn't get he couldn't get the revolver to move, so then he just like fuck it, and then he like took it. It was like hitting on it. And he's like, this isn't gonna work, and then he looks over. That went a long time ago in train safety when I was like 6 years old. You shouldn't get near the train because if there are objects on the train, they fly off and they're ballistics.
Oh,
so
he moved his head a little bit.
I'm just sitting there waiting. I was like realistically, this guy did this. There's a good chance something flies off and he hits him and just fucking kills him. But it's just such an absurd little scene, and he just like backs off away from the train.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is funny though.
Pretty sure Corporal Wallace was a diesel.
But yes, he was in fact a diesel.
I checked though. His name's Mario Brega. He is not in fact a wrestler. He is just a big Italian man.
large Italian.
With the length of the movie, like I tried to sit like after I watched it, that's why I was like, oh man, this is gonna be hard to rank when we have to rank all these fucking good movies and shit because the first two are already fucking great. But like I tried to sit down, I was like, is there anything that they could have cut in this movie? And I tried to sit down and think about it, and I'm like, I don't think you can because every scene had its cause and effect in a way.
I guess.
I think you can cut a little bit of that.
Yeah.
The battle at the bridge a little. I think that dragged a bit.
Maybe.
But,
there is stuff that could be cut from it. But I think if this was a more finely crafted film, it wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't feel like a Sierra Leone movie.
I guess not.
For better or worse. Like I'm not saying like, oh, you can't do it, but it's just it's kind of what he does. Like you watch a Stanley Kubrick movie, and you're like, man, this movie's long. They could cut a lot of these like long, extended jerks walking down hallways scenes pretty easily. But if you cut all the long tracking shots, it's not a Kubrick movie anymore. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with Sierra Leone. There's a lot of like we like this conflict, we like this scenery, we like this other stuff, just like inserted in there for flavor. And that's what
I
it
also
is.
like how he gets random weird close-up shots just out of nowhere. It's like the movie starts with some ugly guy just mugging at the camera.
I love it.
Like,
They do not shy away from showing you how fucked up someone gets in the sun in this movie too.
no, yeah.
Oh my, yeah. Whenever Blondie he does this little dragging through the desert, he looks fucking rough. That is the sign of dehydration right there. It's all
What's
cracked up and stuff. He was like a pile of shit. What you're saying? 5 pounds of shit or 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag?
He's not 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. Now he's like 2 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag because he's dehydrated.
People get to see him. He's just a little dry little turd. Yeah.
It's good makeup work.
This is totally a movie if they ever tried to modernize and make again. Because greed, they would totally make this into a 2-part movie, and everybody'd be super pissed about it, and it'd be awful. But yeah, I agree. If they tried to stream it out and make it clean, it wouldn't work. It's got to be rough around the edges to work the right way. I will say the movie, again, it's a mild criticism, but I think it's probably more because I have watched it enough times to know what's going on. Don't get me wrong, the opening of this movie is great, but as things go on, it is a little slow to pick up because it's so long. But then and there's actually a pretty neat part to stop, about halfway, where you can watch this in 2 settings, but then you're really tempted to keep watching because after it really picks up after about the first hour, it just takes off. There's constant stuff happening other than just little bits of dialogue between, but they're important. So that's the only thing about it. I think it's a little slow to pick up, but once you get going, it doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. I don't know if that makes sense. The first hour feels long. The second 2 hours don't feel like 2 hours.
It makes sense until they get to the bridge battle.
Sure. The bridge battle is a little long. It's they could have cut a few things.
You could have cut 10 minutes of that out.
I like
it's paced in a weird way that you kind of forget what movie you're watching a couple times. When Angel Eyes turns up at the camp, you're like, oh fuck, Lee Van Cleef is in this movie. I forgot about that.
He just fucked off for an hour.
Yeah, he goes away. He slaps the shit out of that woman and then disappears for an hour. And you're like, wait, he is here. Wait, what? Why is he with the Union? Again, that's why you question it. You're how the fuck did he get here?
Still looking for Bill Carson.
That's another line I love in this movie is because his character is just so evil and intimidating. Whenever the guy's telling the captain or whatever is saying all these things about, you can't be torturing people and killing them and taking all this stuff. You need to treat our prisoners like prisoners. They're people. And he says, "Is that an accusation?" And that's all he says. He just says that it seems like a simple thing to say. The way he says it, directly, it's "Yeah, I'll fucking kill you." What are you saying?
He's like, "Son, I have gangrene. I don't give a shit."
Yeah.
This stuff can't go on while I'm alive. He says, "All right, it won't while I'm alive."
It's holy shit, dude.
Yep. It's well, there it is.
Dubs, I cut you off earlier. Were you gonna steer somewhere else?
Well, I was, but something came up just when you talked about him as well. When he killed that one guy in the beginning, about he was talking about finding out who Carson is and shit. I thought he was just gonna take the pillow and smother him to death. No, he takes the pillow and just fucking starts shooting. I'm just
I still don't get. One bullet would have done it.
He enjoyed it too much. He enjoys shooting his gun.
And he shoots the guy's kid. I get it. The kid ran up on him with a gun, but Jesus Christ, dude.
I thought
they're trying to show you he's evil.
Yeah, they really want to clearly establish he is bad. He is the bad. Yeah.
There's no real ambiguity. Right off the bat, Lee Van Cleef is really bad. He's the bad.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, at the end too, we were talking about asshole things. How about Blondie setting up fucking Tuco, where he gives him the fucked up situation, and then they have the standoff where they finally separate. Yeah, and he unloaded his gun, and he didn't realize it, and he's like, "I could have killed me," and he tells him that there's only 2 types of people. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny too. But that's kind of an asshole move. It's okay, sure, you're very confident that you're good in your abilities, but yeah, he totally could have killed him. And
he didn't know Angel Eyes was going to turn up. He just wanted to make sure Tuco wasn't going to shoot him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, indirectly, asshole move. And then he does the whole thing where he leaves him to hang, and then
He
goes
leaves
back
him
and
his money, though.
he does leave him his money. He had the plan to stop him, but
You know what you are? A no good, lousy son of a.
Like the score censored him. It was great.
Oh, just step back on what you were saying at the beginning of the episode, though. The music that plays when Tuco very first gets to the graveyard and it accelerates and
Ecstasy
builds
of
up and he's
gold.
running around. That's like no hyperbole. That's one of my favorite scenes musically, like in all of film.
Mhm.
I love that part so much. I have anyone watching the video version will see here in the background. I have the vinyl of this soundtrack, and I'll listen to it unironically all the time. Like the soundtrack of this movie is just so killer. It's great.
There you go, just bigger version so that
Yeah,
they can
people
see
can
it
get
there.
it.
Yeah, there you go. It's back
Yeah,
here.
that score, like that song, is one of my single favorite pieces of music from film. Period. Which is strange because if I picked like my top 5 or anything, I don't think I have any other westerns. That is definitely one of my favorite pieces. No, it's absolutely wonderful.
What's
And like
great
you said, the
too.
scene is great too. Like the spinning and stuff. Like
Yeah.
just everything about the shot and stuff is just wonderful. What
What's
were we
great
gonna
too
say?
is right after that, Blondie turns up and they talk about it, and it's not buried under Dean Stanton. And then Angel Eyes turns up, and then there's the famous 3-way standoff, and then it plays the other best song in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's
right
true.
in the next part. Like, it's, oh my god.
Yeah. Like, you like this? Well, you're gonna love this.
And then, like Zach was saying, he loves those close-ups, and you see them, and like one of the most iconic shots in all of westerns, and it's in several movies, but it shows Tuco's gun hanging by his side, and his hand comes down and frames. I think it's Angel Eyes, like between his fingers. It's such a wonderful shot.
Yeah, the part where he's like touching each bullet, like he's climbing the bullets like a ladder.
That
to
too,
his gun.
Yeah.
I
also really like each of the 3 gunfighters wears their gun in a different way. I don't know why. I just really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because Blondie's got his on his side traditionally, but Angel Eyes has his across. And then
Crossbows.
Tuco just has his on a string, which honestly seems like the smartest one to me. But
And maybe that's why he took out his bullets, because maybe he had the advantage, and maybe Blondie knew that he was going to get shot. I don't know, but
you might notice though, when Tuco pulls his gun, he tries to shoot Angel Eyes first. Like that was his plan too. So
Yeah, they were on the same page. They both shot for Angel Eyes, and yeah.
I do like how
he does
cartoony.
that badass story. Shoots his hat and his gun into the grave.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna lead to. I was like, it gets really cartoony and badass at the same time. Like, he just shot this dude, he falls into the grave, and he just shoots the gun and then the hat in there. I was like, that's cool. Little cartoony, but cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do that throughout, right? Like back whenever they first have their early interactions, Tuco does the same thing when he shoots off the canteen and then shoots the canteen empty and then shoots his hat off, and he's like, "Oh, now you're lighter. It'll be fine."
Yeah,
And he's like riding around with a pink parasol, fucking making fun of him and shit.
That's why he was cast in this role. Is Leone wanted someone who could like be serious and intimidating, but also slightly comedic, and he was perfect for it. Like he did all that stuff very, very well.
Oh yeah.
I also like the shot because it's making like Blondie's like because of the heat, he's probably getting like heat stroke and stuff. Like, they take a break and the boot is right there next to his face, and he's like about to grab the boot and do something, but like it's just the boot there, and Tuco's cleaning his feet and shit. I was like, that's a good shot there.
Oh, you want to talk about good shots? Besides the hand framing Angel Eyes as it's next to the revolver. One of the best shots in film. Again, like this movie has so many of like my favorites in it. After he gets done digging up the gold, he splits the bag open, and then he looks up, and the camera pans up and frames his head in the noose that Blondie has just hung. It's such a good shot. It looks like something out of a different kind of movie. It's very symmetrical, but I don't know. It's just really cool. And as soon as it frames him, the music kicks in. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously you have the soldier with no legs, half the soldier who was talking to Angel Eyes, and he gets information, and he like, I don't remember the place. He's like, oh, here's a coin and stuff, and he's like, yeah, Santa Ana, whatever.
I always forget that guy's in this movie every time I see it. Like, damn.
He fucking uses his head to open up the fucking doors and shit.
Hand me
So,
down a whiskey.
I slightly lied. I said something about the whole top 5 or top 10 of my favorite songs from film, and I was like, "This is the only one in the Western." Actually, there's another one, and I was thinking, I was like, "I can't remember what it is," and then I remembered, and we're gonna watch it later. It's the theme for Pale Rider.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack to that as well. But we're gonna get there. That's later. But I was like, "Oh yeah, that's something we're watching." I thought it was, and I look back. We're not watching Ghost Rider though. That's unfortunate. That's also a Western, right?
That's later.
That's a future Western.
It's a postmodern Western. Not post-Western, postmodern.
And then the
Gen
reboot,
Z
also
Western.
Nick Cage. I'm trying to think what else to talk about. I mean, I think we hit all the main beats of the movie and stuff.
What was with the different spots where Tuco was dubbed, and it sounded like it was a different actor?
Because they filmed this movie in Italy in the 60s, and their recording equipment like sucked. And I think there's a lot of times, I mean, this isn't with Tuco, obviously, but there's a lot of actors that didn't know English, so they would just deliver their lines in Italian, and then they were dubbed over by an English actor later. But the stuff with Tuco is probably, I don't know this for a fact, but it's probably he did his lines and the audio recording was ruined or terrible, or they couldn't hear it. So they had to get someone else in to dub it because Eli Walt had moved on to some other project or something.
It was just really noticeable because it was like you hear him in one scene, then another scene sounds like totally fucking different person.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also like a little delay. Like you can see it's different, and like there's a delay in when it's said.
I didn't notice he sounded different as much. I might not be as observant as you guys, though.
Yeah, I noticed a delay pretty quickly. There's a delay in a couple of characters that speak, and it's there. But again, I guess
there's
it depends
clearly
on which
dubs,
version.
but I didn't notice it was a different.
Somebody was also doing a Clint Eastwood impression. That was not Clint Eastwood. Somebody was doing an impression.
Yeah, they
there's
things because they filmed it outdoors in Italy in the 60s, and they didn't exactly have modern recording equipment.
Yeah, but we totally faked the moon landing. Anyway, that was what I was going to get to. What version did you guys watch? Because I didn't realize this at the very end, but I guess according to what I watched the extended English edition.
That's
it was like
the most common version. Yeah, I mean, I think other versions exist,
I don't know.
but they don't even
put
it on.
I don't know which one I had.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I wasn't sure. I didn't even realize until after, but I was wondering if there was anything different about them as far as like the actual scenes, shot to shot. I assume it was more just like you said, the audio filler.
Well, it was there is a theatrical version that they like cut down. They cut some stuff out so that it wasn't 3 hours long because you remember old theaters, they would just show the movie back to back to back to back all day long, and you would just walk in the middle of a movie potentially. If it was that long, there were less showings in a day, so they cut it down. They butchered films back then because they were monsters.
Oh
yeah, they don't do that now. They would never do that now. They've learned their lesson.
Sure, no,
they don't cut shit enough now.
But actually, you can't infer. You have to actually know the backstory. And Tuco and his family and his father, they never played catch when he was a child.
Look, if you guys didn't read the prequel comic, you're gonna be lost. That's just the way it's gonna happen.
You can buy it here for $9.99.
It's gonna be about how Angel Eyes and Tuco went to college together.
Dear God, are we gonna have DLC for movies? Is that how this is gonna go?
DLC for
I can't do it. I can't. Oh shit. Only if they also have suicide booths. I'm okay with DLC for movies if suicide booths become like a public thing.
So what do you call it? Another scene that I like also, because Angel Eyes doesn't give a shit about his own fucking people, his group that he had. He just sends them out to get killed by fucking Tuco and Blondie in that street. But I love the scene where the two guys are like, we finally got them. And a fucking cannonball just comes in and blows them up. I was like, yes. I started having flashbacks for Gangs of New York, by the way, when they were fucking bombing that town and shit. I was like, oh my god, fucking Lincoln.
You mentioned that scene where they killed all of Angel Eyes' guys and shit, and then they do that, and it's like it's awesome. The whole thing was awesome, and then they go and they go back to where he was previously hanging out, and the first guy that Blondie killed is like laying there in the bed, and they pick that note up, and he like Tuco's trying to read it because he can't really read that well, and then it basically says, "See you, idiots." I was like, "That's great."
It's for you.
Yeah.
Again, like they try to like play with our emotions again, because you know when they get to the church and they see that one soldier that's like bleeding out and eventually dies, like Blondie's like being all nice, puts a fucking his jacket on and puts the
Gives him smoke.
Give him the smoke, and then he dies and takes everything back again, and then that's when Tuco takes the fucking horse, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Who's the good, who's the bad, and who's the ugly? Tell me now, I can't fucking tell.
And somehow the Confederates have left behind a loaded cannon that is pointed in the correct direction.
Yeah.
They needed that for the trailer shot.
That was in case they got attacked from behind. You know, if they were going to circle around or some shit.
I do like the detail, though, because after he shoots the one time, he has that rod where you put the cannon in again. I was like, oh, nice rod. Touch. Nice touch. I don't know what it's fucking called.
He touched the rod.
Ramrod. It is, in fact, called a rod.
Yeah. Okay. You guys ready? Just because I feel like it's just added because it's extra bullshit. It'd just be funny to bring up. Have you all seen the weird conspiracy theory about this movie? Because there's a conspiracy theory about everything.
About how it's great.
Yeah. Well, it's great. The conspiracy theory is that Clint Eastwood's character Blondie isn't real. It's that he is actually a manifestation of Tuco's consciousness. He's like his good conscience, or he's his guardian angel, or some nonsense. Yeah, it's a fight club. That's what it is. It literally the Reddit post is like this long thing or something.
Well,
actually, I think it's 4chan.
Fight Club ruined people. I swear to God.
The first thing it says, this motherfucker watched Fight Club, then watched this movie and thought, I know, I'm deep. I know Fight Club.
I will give a little credit though, because I thought the same thing. Not the same thing as what he did, but I was like, wait a second. They're swindling all these towns, and Tuco's always going on the most wanted list. Why isn't Blondie getting fucking his face plastered and shit?
Who's saving him from being hung?
Blondie.
I agree.
If Blondie doesn't exist.
Exactly.
I agree, but like at the same time,
it's like one of the first things that happens in the movie.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's versus whether he's real or he's like some type of supernatural manifestation that saves him.
Okay, like he's
not that it's like him, like, but it's actually like a guardian. That's why, even though it seems like Blondie's always gonna screw him over, Blondie is actually like looking out for the good of that person, or like the other ones, he's an angel. And it's again because every time he finds someone that's near death, he tries to like honor their last wish before they die. So the guy at the bridge, the guy that he covers up and gives him the smoke before he dies, like weird stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's kind of neat, but like, are we just coming up with stuff for the sake of coming up with it? It's just fucking movie.
But I did like the plot hole and stuff. Was just like, where's fucking Blondie's face on the Most Wanted? Because he's going to every sheriff, handing the same fucking guy, and then shooting the rope of, swindling money off of the thing. You would think these towns would be like, this motherfucker is scamming every fucking town.
No, they're too scared of him. He shot all their hats off in a cartoonish manner.
Yeah.
I'm scared of that guy.
From far off with a old lever action.
He's almost good, like too good with the role, like he's inhuman.
No shit.
He's an angel.
Poor Shorty, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, Shorty.
Yeah.
Oops.
But I still think, just to feed off of that like theory, but not like agree with that theory. I always thought, because I did see Fistful of Dollars, that movie. I seen that movie, and it's always seeming like Clint Eastwood's character is the driver of the story. He's there. He's showing what's happening at the moment.
I mean, yeah, he is in Fistful of Dollars and a few dollars more.
Yeah, and it's just like he's us experiencing this story, what's going on. And that's why he's a man with no name. That's how I always thought of Clint Eastwood's character in those two movies.
Well, it almost has like the Indiana Jones effect. Like he's inconsequential to the story. However, that's obviously not true because again, the thing that puts that through a plot hole is literally the person that saves Tuco at the beginning of the movie.
Mm.
I don't know if you got that whole argument for those listening is you watch an Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones doesn't need to be there for any of the movie to happen. The plot happens as it's going to happen, regardless if he's there.
Yeah, the Ark was going to kill all those Nazis, whether he interfered or not.
Exactly. Yeah. So like that's the idea behind that story. And while that's technically true, there's still plenty of things that he directly did that still affect what happens around him. So
I don't think he would have saved all those sexy Indian children would have never been saved if he wasn't there. You know,
right?
And I don't think that.
I don't know. I just agreed with that. I'm gonna take that back, but I see what you're saying. Yes, he saved children.
He also found the knight from the Crusades that had the cup thing, and then like if he wasn't there to pick the real one, would have.
I've never heard this argument about Indiana Jones. I've always heard it about Blade Runner.
I've heard about Indiana Jones a lot, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I've heard it a lot.
Raiders, sure, but the other movies, no.
I've only heard the original. I don't think I've ever heard it about the other movies. It's the original I heard it, which is funny because I had heard this long before I'd ever actually watched the movies until you guys maybe sit down and watch them all, which was great. But yeah, I had heard that theory before. It's just funny, and I've also heard it about Blade Runner, which is funny. So now I'm like, is it just Harrison Ford movies?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Harrison Ford's inconsequential. He wants to be inconsequential in all of his movies.
What
yeah, just fucking write me off. Kill me.
I want to be in movies. I wish they'd kill all my characters.
What the fuck is a Force ghost?
When is he just gonna fuck off and leave civilization? That's what I want to know.
After Indiana Jones and the fucking dial of fucking whatever it's called.
He needs to retire. He's clearly checked out of all of this stuff.
Yeah, he can't keep on crashing planes and shit. Jesus Christ.
You think he stopped? Do you think he stopped really trying in the 90s? I feel like it's when he stopped trying.
More or less. Everything he's been in for 10 years, he's just been confused, disoriented old man. And I even liked him in Blade Runner 2049, but confused, disoriented old man. He's just I don't know what's going on. Oh my god. Oh, and he's that in everything now.
I still like how he had to do the voiceover for Blade Runner. He just did it fucking terribly. Oh my god. But anyway, my final any other things before we get into final thoughts?
I did want to touch really quick. Everyone's talking about this stupid Fight Club bullshit, and oh my gosh, could the movie have happened without interference from certain characters? There's something really interesting about this movie that I think bears pointing out, and we just talked about it, but we didn't point it out. This movie is fantastic and famous, and everyone loves it. And if you don't, you're wrong. But it kind of defies this whole academic plight of the protagonist or role of feminine characters in the West. There's no you couldn't teach a class on this movie unless it was about cinematography. There's not a stupid, deep, seldom talked about theming in this movie. It's all kind of just laid out there for you. It's just kind of a perfect movie.
Sometimes a movie's just a movie,
right? This is one of the best examples of that. It doesn't really have much there's obviously an anti-war message, but honestly that's one of the safest messages you could. Oh wow, you really stepping out of the box on that one. War's bad. So
yeah,
there's not a lot to this movie that it's bad to discuss unless you just want to talk about how cool it is for an hour, which we've done.
Right. No, and that's actually a really great thing to point out. I was going to bring it up earlier, but I guess we took a detour. Everyone stays kind of in that morally gray, or I guess I should go back. Good and ugly. So Lonnie and Tuco stay in that morally gray area. I mean, Van Cleef is Van Cleef. He's bad. But they never find a way of completely redeeming themselves and suddenly being again a hero in some way.
There's not a message at the end. He doesn't go back to his brother and give him money for the church or something. No.
There's no moral. There's not a message. There's no moral. There's not supposed to be. This is more of it's almost like you even said too, Dubs. You're just watching the events play out as they happen, and you have to take it for what it is.
It's an amusement
And
ride.
that's okay. And
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's great.
I just wanted to bring this up because this is going to come back when we rank, and I just wanted to plant the seed. Is all.
Yeah. Zach, you were about to say something.
Yes. The moral of the story is everybody is good, bad, and ugly all at once.
Just like time.
There's different
shades.
there's different sides of everybody's personality.
Mankind was the bad guy all along.
But mankind can also be good, and mankind can also be ugly.
But the ugly was the friends we made along the way.
That's right.
Yeah, your ugly friends, your ugly pug-like friends.
That's racist.
I usually think about stupid shit in movies, but like at the end, like when they got all that those coins and shit, I was like, wait a second, do they have a house? Like they can't put it in the bank because I'm pretty sure fucking like Blondie doesn't have a fucking account at a bank. Is he gonna carry those fucking pouches for a long time?
Haven't you read, watched, or played anything to do with the Old West? They're gonna go hide it somewhere, and then they're gonna take a little bit of it into town at once and use it. And at some point, they're gonna die, and on their like deathbed or like as they're dying, they're like, "I hid all this gold. It's out in the," and then there's gonna be a big adventure to find their gold.
Yeah,
Which is
you're
what
right.
started all this.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yes.
But I was thinking, like, as he's riding off, I was like, man, he's gonna ride across the fucking plains by himself. He could get like fucking accosted by like natives or assholes or banditos or something, and just get fucked.
Or the Confederate Army, or the Union Army,
Or the Union Army.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, who's gonna fuck with him?
I don't know. Wildlife. A snake might bite him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm having a brain fart, but like
That's why there was never another one.
There's a snake in my boot.
It makes me think of. Oh, go ahead, Dubs.
when Tuco was on the cross and like remember when he was like hanging and shit.
On the cross.
Yeah.
He was on the cross.
He literally was. He didn't
Yeah.
misspeak.
Remember that time when Tuco portrayed Jesus?
The Passion of Tuco.
I mean,
What?
Jesus. I'm sorry.
Was his hands tied?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He tied it
his
behind
hands
his
were
back.
bound. Yeah, that's why he couldn't. I mean, yeah, the obvious thing would have been like, oh, why doesn't he just get the fucking noose off his back? No, his hands were tied behind his back.
I think he
And-
tied his hands with the string from his gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like even when he's like about to die and be hung in it, he's like still looking at the gold while he's like struggling with the fucking rope and stuff.
What's that gold?
Is it worth dying for, though?
Some
Yeah.
to Tuco it is. Gold is always on his mind.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, at that rate, it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna die now, son of a bitch. I was this close. Like, come on. So I kind of get it. That's at least how it was sold to me based on how they shot the scene.
It's
And then,
a very middle period Western of them. I got the money, you die. Right there.
yeah.
You should go back to that gun shop and give him money. I do like the part where he steals his money, but like he's about to take the whiskey. He's like, wait a second, this guy's gonna need it. I just robbed his ass, and he leaves the whiskey there. I was like, that's cool. I like
What
that.
a nice guy.
Yeah.
What a nice guy for the moment. But final thoughts. I enjoyed this movie. I agree with you guys. There's not a lot of like theme and stuff. By the way, what
Maybe
movie supports war? Is there a movie that like says war is fucking rad and great?
I mean, yeah, kind of. There's tons of movies that glorify war. You know, like, oh, you go to war and you're such a badass motherfucker. Oh my god, I'm Gerard Butler or some stupid shit.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking operator, bitch.
I gotta
That's right.
president.
Yeah, those movies are awesome. They make me feel good.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
with that.
they're still entertaining. I'm not saying like, oh, we should stop these movies. I'm just
Call of Duty is a propaganda for
There's still conversation there.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
Jesus Christ.
well, I think the problem is it's not so much that it's there. It's like it's more just about it's no different than the Joker is glorifying mental illness. No, that's just not, a lot of people interpret it that way. A lot of it is actually a cautionary tale or warning for these things to still be unsafe, and it's actually meta for giving some type of praise to something that actually needs help. So same thing with war. But the irony is that's usually lost on people because they're fucking smooth brains, and they're like, "Oh, no, this war, yeah, guns, bullets, yeah, cool, great."
Unfortunately, most people don't want a message in their movies; they just want a movie, and that's
They just
fine.
want to watch a
That's
movie.
Perfectly fine. Go watch
Exactly.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You'll be satisfied.
I
This
love
is
Battleship.
the good, the bad, and the ugly is the bullet train of westerns.
Yes.
No, no.
Obviously, we're gonna lose a few viewers for that. Yeah, I apologize. It was a joke.
Unsubscribed.
Luckily, every other Western it has very poignant theming and deep messages.
Yeah, they're like Naruto.
This whole genre is very shallow, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. But my final thoughts is I enjoyed this movie. There's likable characters, even though some of them are gray and stuff. And I do like the bad guy. Fucking
Greed?
Angel Eyes. Yes, Angel Eyes. I thought he was great. I recommend this movie. So Andy, what about you? What's your final thoughts and recommend or not?
Well, I own this movie twice, and I own the soundtrack, and I hate it, and no one should watch it. No, this movie's great. This is one of the best westerns ever made, and it's the best spaghetti western. I know people try to be like hipsters and be like, no, it's Django. No, it's this. No, it's that. No, this is the best spaghetti western. It just is. I mean, there's several others that I love to death, but this is the best one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of add to that. Yeah, this is one of the greatest westerns of all time. It's a great movie. If you've never watched any westerns, again, be warned of the time. But again, it's at the same time, it's definitely a great watch. Enjoyable. Again, don't overthink it. It's okay to just enjoy it for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
There are no ghosts or there are no fight clubs.
There's no Tyler Durden.
Please stop overthinking movies.
Yeah, spend less time overthinking the movie and use it to think about other things that matter, like the rest of your life's decisions.
There it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is like a real asshole thing to say to people. I mean that in a nice way.
I mean, there are times where I'm just like, yeah, theories are kind of fun if you're just like sitting around having a couple of beers and shit and be like, whoa, this fucking, did you know fucking Clint Eastwood was Tyler Durden and shit and they blew up all the corporations in the Wild Wild West? Yeah, don't overthink it. But Zach, what's your final thoughts and do you recommend?
Great movie. Quintessential Western, I would say. If somebody's like, I don't really watch Westerns, I don't really get into them, I don't know if I would recommend this right off the bat to them, though, because of the length.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah, I'm just saying I would pick one for somebody, like a different one.
Watch Western Yojimbo.
If they're noobs, you know?
Yeah, it's like recommending a steak to someone who's never had meat before. You wouldn't go immediately to go eat the porterhouse. Like
I don't like
take your time.
Really get into mob movies, and you don't tell them to go watch fucking Godfather first. Like it's the same thing.
I still piss off with a lot of people about like Godfather. I guess we'll get that until we actually watch it. Like Godfather is a great movie, but in my opinion, I don't like it. But that's just me.
Whoa, we're gonna have that discussion someday.
Eventually, that will be a discussion we'll have, and you'll have to listen while you're wrong. But
yeah, I'm already conceding I'm wrong. I know they're totally two different movies, but I prefer Goodfellas over Godfather.
That's okay. I mean, that's a perfectly valid opinion, I think, actually. But they're still good.
I'm still wrong. I know.
I know. I think that's a different opinion. That's an apples and oranges thing versus saying if you don't like Godfather versus saying that you just like Goodfellas more.
The video.
Yeah, like cool. Is it that you don't like The Godfather, or is it that you like Goodfellas more than The Godfather, which you enjoy to a degree? Like that's
it's just because I like Goodfellas more than Godfather. It's just because Goodfellas hits you like with more beats than anything. Godfather is very slow, and
rate Godfather. Give me a rating of Godfather, 1 to 10.
Rate.
8 out of 10.
I love rating movies.
Okay, well, what's the problem?
Yeah, what? You just it's like you acted like you hated it at first.
I might get some guff for this, but I don't absolutely worship the Godfather. But I
I don't go like
lot.
it's 2 out of fucking 10. There's not enough fucking
2 out of
gabagools.
10.
Like,
You just pulled the cinema equivalent of I like Nesquik, but I prefer Yoo-Hoo, so Nesquik sucks.
well, Yoo-Hoo is a chocolate drink, and Nesquik is a fucking chocolate powder.
3 out of 10. Not enough thinly sliced garlic that melts into the pan.
Zach, what's our next movie that we're going to be talking about next week?
Our next movie is another Sergio Leone movie. How the West was one. No, I'm just kidding. It's Once Upon a Time in the West.
And Andy, you said this is a longer movie, right?
Yes, it's a little longer. It's like maybe like 20 minutes longer. Something like that. It's not by a whole lot.
Okay.
This one's an epic.
Yeah, this one's long.
So remember to watch that movie and then come back here and we will talk about it. Before we get into the last word, I do have a ad for y'all, so please hold on.
Wrestling nerds, wrestling weebs, wrestling fans. If you're looking for a different kind of podcast, one that goes over actual big wrestling news, I mean real stories, not somebody getting divorced or baseless rumors or whatnot, and get some color, we got that. We also do reviews of wrestling from the past, but sometimes we also do wrestling from the modern day too, if it's something that interests us at the time. Other than that, I would say the main attraction is just 3 guys who have been lifelong wrestling fans doing what wrestling fans do. Cutting up, cracking jokes, and just enjoying the entertainment wrestling can provide, however that comes. If you want to catch Getting Some Color, you can catch it bi-weekly on Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, usually.
Now we're here for the last word. Last word is...
Oh, hang on. I want to talk about that ad real quick. I love that ad to death, but every week when he says, we talk about wrestling from the past sometimes, but also we talk about wrestling, I want him to say from the future.
We also talk about
we also talk about wrestling from the future.
One day.
Actually, now we got to change it. It's got to say we're going to talk about the wrestling that was, the wrestling that is, and the wrestling that will be. That's what you got to say.
Perfect.
There it is. Yeah.
Excellently executed right there.
You're welcome.
You made it coherent.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah. Last word is a segment where we talk about what the hell we've been watching, playing, or doing. And if there's any news that we want to talk about, we usually add that in there. This is usually the end part where we're just, kind of chilling out before we sign out. So I will go first. I played a video game that most of us have been hyped for, is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Now, I gotta blame all the medallions that I'm like searching in fucked up places for, because that's wasting my time to like do the story. Like at the point, I was like, I just want to play the fucking game. So I'll do that on the second run, probably, is getting all the medallions and killing all the rats and shit.
No, I'm right there with you. I made the mistake of, I'll buy the treasure map. And now I stand around all the time going, where's this treasure?
Yeah.
Where's it at? Looking all around, looking up. Oh, it's hanging from something.
Yeah, you also got to like shoot like the bird nest and all that stuff because there's items in there. But I like it. I like that because they fixed the aiming and stuff and they modernized the aiming. That like they're like, oh, how can we still fuck with them? Let's just have waves of enemies and they can never you can never have like a breather. It's like I shoot one and I'm like I have to like run away and all that stuff.
So just a question real quick, because it might make things easier. Did everyone here start Resident Evil 4 Remake? All 4 of us are gonna. Yeah. So if you're cool with it, Dubs, not to like railroad what you did, but we can probably all talk about it together real quick and then move on.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting for like a moment to jump in and be like, "We all played this game. Let's just all talk about it."
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Also, did you? I didn't bring up the aiming thing. Did you keep aim assist and stuff on, or did you turn it all off?
I turned it all off because.
Okay, cool. Because you're not a bitch. Thank you.
That's right.
The bitch. I also turned it all off, and I'm getting fucked.
Get good.
I have no problem with aiming in that game, but I have 100 problems with keeping ammo around.
Same.
Like, I didn't play the demo like you guys. I was just like, I'm gonna play it anyway. I'll just wait. And you're there with the Spanish cops and they disappear and you're running up and they burn the guy. And I was like, there they are. I've played this part a million times on the GameCube version. I was running there, pop, 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 start shooting guys. No, bad, do not do. Like I was like, I'm running out of ammo. I'm getting stabbed. I don't know how to do the kick. You don't use my knife. And I was, so eventually I was like, oh, I gotta sneak around. I gotta get some ammo. And they added stealth kills. I'm in love with that. I love it so much.
That's great.
That is such a good addition to the game. Holy shit!
I realized I'm always scrounging for ammo, and I'm getting excited when I find like gunpowder and supplies, and I'm crafting my own little bullets. They got some Last of Us in my Resident Evil. That's exactly what this is, because one of my favorite parts of The Last of Us was item management, and now it's here it is.
Last of Us got some Resident Evil in it before. I will correct, but sure.
Yeah,
it's like OG Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
Like way back when your original survival horror, where you're trying to like manage and scrounge to find the resources that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When can I get the goddamn Red 9? I'm about to quit the game. I'm going to burn Virtual Spain to the ground.
It's a little bit
By this
later.
point in the game, I had it originally. So
you will you find one in a random chest. If you observe it, you'll find it. So
I found a lot of chests. I don't know if I found them all. I'm up to the shooting gallery. I don't know if that means anything.
Oh, okay. You guys are way further than I am then, probably.
I'm way slow. I just finished getting the fucking boat fucking gas and like killed.
You're just ahead of me then.
Yeah.
I'm about to fight Salazar, I think.
Yep, way ahead of me. I'm like midway through chapter 2. I just like met the merchant and like went through the initial area where like there's just that's actually where I got like fucked, like the onslaught of the guys that are just throwing dynamite relentlessly.
I love them. I love those guys. They're like, hey, look, I have dynamite. I'm like, not for long, you don't.
Fuck you, bitch. I like how his little smart ass comments when he does that. Like when he shoots the dynamite out of a guy's hands, or somebody's got a Molotov cocktail. He's like, "Oops, must have slipped."
Now, are you guys playing with headphones? Or are you guys playing with like surround sound or anything?
Yeah, I've got a little soundbar deal over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I don't know if it's the same with like the surround or setup, but where I'm using these same headphones, and like they're noise canceling, but they'll have some. It sounds like people are like whispering shit into my ear. It's fucked up. Yeah, it's real.
When are you gonna play Silent Hill with the headphones?
Well, I don't have time to be committed, so probably not for a while. Like
every once in a while when I'm scooting around, I'll hear like some of that noise. I'll be like, I just beat Silent Hill 2. This is nothing.
I love that this atmosphere. Well, Resident Evil 4 had a bit of an atmosphere to it in spots, but now it's like pervades the whole game. It's not just spots, and it's ratcheted up more.
Well, yeah. I like the mixture of like survival horror. Like it actually feels like a horror game now at some points where you just like get in this dark area and like the flashlights happening, and then all of a sudden you just see like a wave of enemies. But I do want to shout out because I think Chaz was talking about the dynamite area. When you meet the merchant for the first time, and then you go into that little area with all the scaffolding and stuff and the houses. Fuck that part, by the way. That I've died so many fucking times because people were just coming out of the fucking woodworks and stuff.
Did you buy the rifle by any chance?
I
bought it after that part.
Because I bought it.
Has a hard time. Yeah.
Like the old version, I bought the rifle like my first playthrough maybe, but after that I never did again. This time I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy that rifle. I'm gonna get the scope, and I went in there and just like killed a bunch of people without them knowing I was there. And it's a cakewalk after that. It's like half as many guys.
Well, yeah, if you take your time and buy rifle ammo and go through, you can wipe a bunch of them. I didn't do that initially. I went guns blazing because I got the Punisher. And went in, and I was like, oh, I'm fine. I'll take care of this. And then the dynamite fucks got me. And I was like, all right, fuck this. And I went back and got the rifle. And you just clean a bunch of them up. It's way easier.
No, I got it first try, but I did it the same way I've done every section of that game. And that is meticulously and like a coward. Like if guys are near me, I'm like, I need to put my back to something, and I like run into an alley and like, oh, come on, motherfuckers, I'll get you now. You know, I mean,
like
I said, I like a coward. But it's working.
People say, I mean, you say like a coward, but that's just, look, I played way too many MMOs. You just kiting that motherfucker. That's right. You just say, come here, bitch, shoot bullets and bring them to you.
Yeah, like in the village, I just kept running upstairs and out the window, and then I'd stand on the roof, like kick the ladder down, then stand on the roof, and as people come through the window, just shoot them. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta run again. And I run down.
Okay. I actually had a holy shit moment. And Dubs, I'm sorry, we like railroaded you. I want you to. We'll come back to you in just a sec. But the classic scene that happens there in the village whenever you get attacked and you have to like survive for so many minutes. I like ran around. I was running out of shit, and Chainsaw Charlie's coming after me and all that nonsense. And I go up to like the little bell tower thing. I climb up to it.
I fell too.
Oh shit! I fell and I nearly had a heart attack. I about pissed myself. It was like 1-2 a.m. and because I think I did it after we did Getting Some Color or something. Yeah, I played it after that, and yeah, I didn't really shit myself.
So did something? I didn't go up the tower. What happens?
You fall through.
You're supposed to stay up there, and you're fine. You stay up there for like 5 seconds, and then the entire thing collapses, and you just fall into a horde of enemies. And Chainsaw Charlie's just right there, like, hey, fucker. And
wait, so the tower falls then?
No.
You fall through the floor up there.
The floor. Okay, the floor falls through. But thankfully, like I was able to like somehow like bullshit maneuver my way out, but I had like no health. I had to burn one of my green red mixes that I was saving to get the health pick up. Yeah, I was bummed out about that. But and then guess what I found right after? A fucking yellow herb. But we got to mix it later. But yeah, I managed to like survive. I didn't die, but oh man, I thought I was done. Like
I fucking hate the parts like it's like you kill all the enemies, right? And you're just like, you look at their map, I'm like, oh, look, there's items over here. And I go in this fucking house. This motherfucker was hiding in the closet. Bah, bitch! And it,
that got me. I was like, oh my god. That's what I love about the game. And there's so many genuine moments where I've played the original one so much. I'm always like real meticulous about headshot, kneecap, like specific stuff. But there's been several times in this one I like round a corner and some asshole with a pitchfork is there. And I'm like, oh shit, bang, 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 like just empty a magazine, just panics. It's a genuine reaction because
I like Gangster Leon where because you get so close, your thing goes like this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm shooting like a gangster. This is fucking awesome.
That's actually a real tactical technique. I forget what it's called, but it's like this kind of quarter lock thing, and it controls recoil better, and it's better for if the guys are like right at you, which is
like when you hold a gun normally your arms are more straight, but when you do that your elbows are cocked out. So
so I got to the part where I'm throwing fucking unlimited fucking harpoon fucking rods at the the thing.
Lake monster.
I'm right up there.
That's where I ended. So I'm. Listen, my main gripes in any video game is caring for another fucking person that I have to carry around. And I'm dreading the part of like having to have Ashley while I'm dealing with all these fucking people now.
No, she's better in this.
Oh, is she? Okay, good.
Yeah, because for one thing, they took away, you don't have to worry about her life bar anymore. What happens is if she gets attacked, she goes into like a downed state. Where she'll just kind of lay on the ground and be like, and like she'll lay there, and one of two things will happen. Either somebody will just try to pick her up, or everybody will ignore her while you're fighting because they're trying to murder you. So either one will happen. There's no more you having to worry about a stray crossbow shot fucking killing her. That almost never happens anymore.
Oh, that was so infuriating. When you get to Salazar's castle.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hated that. That was the worst before.
I'm wondering what's going to happen when you get to that big wide room with the
water hallway.
Yeah.
Water hallway, okay. Yeah, a lot of people always go like, man, that room fucking sucks. I'm like, no, that room's fucking awesome. I love that room.
I like it. It's like the castle's version of the city square, or the town square.
I'm dreading the maze. That's the number one thing I'm dreading is the fucking maze with the dogs.
The maze, yeah. It's still there.
Okay, confirm this for me if you don't know it or not, because I'd heard this, but like apparently she can perform assist moves now.
Kind of. It depends on what's happening.
It seems clear that I'm going to help her up onto something at some point because I keep running into places I can't go.
Yeah. Well, there's that, but like when I say assist moves, like there are like other moves in the game before, depending on your position. If you knew how to do it, you could like suplex the zombies and shit, like the German suplex. Like apparently, I just heard it when I was listening to a reviewer. Allegedly, she can German suplex.
No, I have not seen anything like that, but there are
Okay.
certain instances where she can help you.
Okay.
Like there was a part where I was fighting. Remember how like the armors would come alive and attack you?
Oh my god, yeah, that's gonna look terrifying. Not terrible, but terrifying.
There's a spot where like there's these like blue lanterns, and for some reason there's like this fire and these lanterns hurt the armor plagas, and she starts throwing the lanterns at him for you to help you, and it like stuns them.
Nice.
So you're like, oh,
she's helpful.
Yeah, she's more helpful and more likable in this game. Like that's definitely one of the biggest improvements is that whole interplay with that character, and like she's not as annoying to take care of, and I don't know, you actually kind of like her in this game.
But you can't see her panties.
And
I was gonna say that, but I said not to. I've seen the picture so many times of like some dork on a Facebook thing putting like, you don't get to see the panties during this cutscene. You can't use the soap to do this. You can't, like, it's this huge list of like all the opportunities in the game to see her panties. It's like, oh my god, someone needs to find this guy.
There's
make
people
sure he's
already
on
modding it. There's people already modding it so that you can.
Have you gotten laid yet? Are you still fucking bitching about
yeah, well, I'd just be worried about what's locked in his basement or something. Fucking weird.
I got the deluxe edition. Did you guys get the deluxe? The costumes are fucking funny as hell.
No.
I bought a few things piecemeal, but like one of the costumes I want to shout out is in the casual pack, where Ashley looks like a scene kid from like 2003 or 4. But, no, Leon's is actually a callback to one of his alternate costumes in Resident Evil 2, where he has like this leather jacket and there's like a fucking skull and shit on the back of it, and like an American flag on the sleeve.
I want that jacket in real life.
It's a callback to that. The design's a lot cooler in this though.
That's neat. I haven't looked at any of the I can't because I think I just bought the regular version of the game. Maybe I did buy the deluxe and I downloaded the.
What did you $60 or $70?
I think I bought the deluxe, but I don't think I can't remember if I've downloaded or tried to change the costumes or anything yet. I'll need to check that out.
You can do it on the fly, by the way.
Okay.
The costumes,
yeah, it's in the menus. Like the stuff that's worth buying, in my opinion, is like the extra guns and the
you gotta buy extra guns.
Yeah, you get like the Winchester double shotgun. Guns. Yeah.
I didn't even look. I guess I should go look.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
I didn't look at anything.
I didn't either.
There's also a soundtrack swap. I will say it's for the old soundtrack, which they've done that in all these remakes. They'll include the old soundtrack, which is like sweet.
I mean, the new one, I have no problems with the new one.
It's great so far. Yeah, like see, like Resident Evil 2 is the exception because like it was like almost like a non-existent soundtrack. So if like you go and you play Resident Evil 2 after this, maybe if you fancy, I would buy the soundtrack swap for it.
Okay.
But the Skull Shaker, the extra DLC shotgun, that thing is fucking useful as shit because it's so small in your inventory. It takes up 4 spaces.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've already started dumping some of my money into upgrading the shotgun you get though. So I don't know.
Oh, and make sure you put some durability with the merchant on your knife because you could have that knife last longer instead of getting those kitchen knives and shit.
That's what I was saying. Is you upgrade your combat knife and then like just upgrade it. I've seen a lot of people say just like if you rush that because you go for the whole pop a kneecap, kick, and then you can just stab repeatedly. It's basically like if you played hardcore in the old game, that's how you get through. You like meticulously take everybody down and just never waste bullets. So yeah, I have to do that.
I did upgrade durability once because you fix it the first time, and it's like, oh, you can use your knife to parry shit. And then chainsaw motherfucker comes at you, and it's like, hey, you can parry this. I was like, all right, let's give this a shot. I was like, come on, dude, I gotta learn. And 2 of them breaks the knife, and it's cool as hell. But I was like, God damn, I broke my knife again already. So it's like the game taught me, hey, you might want to increase your knife durability. So I did do that.
I am not good at the parry in this game.
There's
Dark Souls.
There's all kinds of attacks you can parry. You can parry, when their heads explode and the Plaga shit's like fucking waving around. You can parry that.
That's cool.
Timing gets good enough.
I've upgraded that durability on the knife, and upgraded some stuff on the shotgun. The pistol I'm not investing in at all because I'm waiting on that red 9, but it's getting to the point where I really need some extra stopping power, and where's my red 9, god damn it.
I think you're coming up on it soon. I will tell you this though, they have the laser module in that game. It only works for certain guns, not all of them. And it's different, like, because they took this from Resident Evil 2. There's a gun that has like a laser on it, but it's the only one in the whole game that does. And you know how you have to aim and like the crosshairs kind of like zero in. That's like the prime time you want to aim, because that's like also your greatest chance to score a critical hit or something. Yeah, there's actually that much minutia in aiming and shooting in these new games. But with a gun with the laser module, you don't have to worry about that. It's like instantly zeroed in. So there's that weight is gone.
So, and obviously I cannot put a laser sight on this Mauser broom handle from 1919.
No, but that's what I like about the newer games and how they do all the guns is they're all different, and it's all going to depend on your taste and what you like. There's not objectively one gun that's better than the other.
I love the iron sights in a rifle. I was like, that's fun. I
like that. Yeah,
I didn't even look at it actually. I just put the scope on immediately.
I immediately put the scope on. Yeah, I did the same thing, but I wanted it because you get greater distance. Like,
you can take it off. You can just like go in your case and like detach it. Real quick.
I just the thought hadn't even occurred to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
same.
It's pretty sweet. I thought that was cool.
I like the merchant has deals and shit, by the way. Like, it's fucking Walmart. I love it. But
I haven't gotten far enough to get that yet. But I'd say, like, just as we're playing the game, we're all enjoying it. It's awesome, right?
Great game.
I'll be streaming it on my Twitch channel. I tried to do it on Lost Nightmares, but because of that one area where I kept on dying, I'm like, this is fucking shitty content that I'm going to be putting on his channel. And especially when me and Zach are like the experts of Resident Evil, and I don't want to look like a chump. So I'm just going to be straight.
I've died a bunch too, full disclosure. This game's just harder than the old one.
Yeah.
I was going to stream, but the same thing. Like, I died so many times at the beginning. I was like, I don't want people to see this.
Yeah.
I just don't like streaming a game the first time you play it, because that's always like the most awkward, dumb fuck way.
I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to play it off stream because everybody and their fucking mother is playing it, and I'm not going to get any traction.
I like to have that footage if I ever need it. There's been a few games. Silent Hill 2 was one of them I recorded but did not stream. Just, you never know.
Well, OBS, you could always
first time
hit
I
the
played
record
Resident Evil 4
button.
Remake, this dumb shit happened. Honestly, I wish I'd been recording, because I realized everyone's experiences are slightly different, because I was like, a cow trampled me, game of the year, lol. And then Zach said, yeah, and the cow was on fire. And I was like, what's he talking about? It wasn't on fire.
Yeah,
I realized later that cow in the beginning, the lantern can get shot down and the fire will cause the cow to run out. That didn't happen to me. It happened to me in the next area where there's like the two cows and the pigs running around, because I was sneaking around, stealth killing a bunch of people. And then I was like, okay, I got to shoot some blue medallions or something. And then that jerk shows up with like the big cow helmet and the massive hammer. And I ran around the cow and he swung the hammer, and then the cow trampled me. I was like, you son of a bitch. I was trying to be nice.
I like the evade button, by the way, where he fucking Leon does like fucking backflip. I was like, yeah, this is fucking cool. I love it.
Yeah, it's sweet. Comes in handy.
But
yeah, it didn't work out too well for me because I threw a hand grenade with the whole intent of doing that, but then the evade button came up, and I was like, I'll do that. And then mid like flip of that, the grenade goes off and just fucks everything up. We all fell.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna play it offline and record it, because I don't know, I'm self-conscious on that. But anyway, that's the only game I played. I was gonna set up the whole universe mode for Chaz and Zach, because I've been messing with all the universe mode shit for the GM stuff that I'm homebrewing at the moment. But as far as TV wise, since we're on Couch Entertainments, I watched the Ark, the recent episode. That is just
What a review.
Go watch the video. But fucking Picard though, it was the Geordie LaForge episode, where they go to a base where they decommission all the ships of the Enterprise of Starfleet, and there was the old Enterprise, the Kirk Enterprise there. There was the Voyager ship. They had the fucking Klingon fucking ship from when they were on the planet with the whales and shit.
Voyager.
Yeah. And then they also went. They did a mission where they sent Riker, Worf, and one of the new characters, Raffi, onto a Section 31 special ops Starfleet station.
A bunch
and
of fan servicey kind of stuff.
a lot of fan service. Moriarty was there. If you remember that episode
What?
that we, yeah,
All right, now I really want to watch it. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
that episode that we watched for Big Trouble Little Podcast. Get a call back from that. The Genesis project was there. There was a body of
Genesis.
Kirk. Apparently, Kirk body is still there. That means he can come back to life at any time, I guess. And then they had the Trills there, and Data's back for the third time, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Brent
So-
Spiner wanted to be involved.
Yeah, it's like, and they even like write it in there. Picard is like, I don't know how I feel about this. I've seen him die twice. I don't know if I don't know if I could take this anymore. So yeah, it's one of the weakest episodes so far out of the bunch, just because there's so much member berries and all that stuff. But it's still a good episode. And just for news wise, apparently, because Picard is doing so good, Terry Matalas, who's the showrunner for season 3, might be getting a show called Star Trek Legacy, which could involve one of the new characters, Shaw. But they're also thinking about doing like an anthology thing where it's a season full of different episodes of different journeys from different crews. So that's interesting. I wouldn't mind an anthology of Star Trek. But yeah, that's all for me. Andy, what about you?
I'll keep it short, probably. Did I talk about Metal Gear Solid last week? I can't remember. I played Metal Gear Solid. It's good. The Wii U and 3DS eShops were murdered this week, so I had to download a bunch of games. I like kind of played a couple of them, but honestly, most of the time I was just like leaving stuff up to download it. I was making a bunch of notes. I downloaded Attack of the Friday Monsters, Mega Man Legacy Collection, Phoenix Wright Dual Destiny, Pushmo, Liberation Maiden, Devil's Third, Pushmo World, Newtopia 2, Ogre Battle 64. I played some Pushmo. That game's fantastic, but I guess it's gone now. I can't believe they haven't ported it to the Switch. They made 4 of them, I think. I don't remember. 4 or 5, 3 of them. The Pushmo game, it's just like a little puzzle game, and it's really well made. It's made by Intelligent Systems, and I don't know. It's just like a really finely crafted puzzle game. It's really perfect on the 3DS, and they put it on the Wii U as well, and it's good there as well. But it feels handheldy. Something about it. What else? Other than that, I didn't play or do. I mean, I played a ton of Resident Evil. Obviously, that's my new project game. I'm playing Resident Evil, and I tried to watch. What's the second Riddick movie? Chronicles of Riddick.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's weird. My dad's watching all the Riddick movies.
I'd never seen it before. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to see this. And I was enjoying it, but I fell asleep. It wasn't the movie's fault. I just fell asleep because I was tired. So I got to get back to watching that. But I was into it. It seemed neat.
That's all.
That's it. Resident Evil has been most of my free time.
Yeah, and I popped in on one of your Metal Gear Solid streams. It was there were some things I forgot in like that beginning part of the menu where you get to watch all the videos of the Colonel talking to Snake.
I figured I would need all that footage. So like the first half an hour is just watching all the briefing VHSs. I recorded all of Attract Mode, and then I beat all 10 of the VR missions just in case we needed it for some reason. But like I say that like, oh, it was such a chore to play one of my favorite games of all time. No, it was a great time. And I also meticulously entered and exited the vent 4 consecutive times to get the secret version of Meryl doing exercises. So we have that footage too.
Nice.
For science.
For science, that's right.
Yeah.
But that's it. Just a couple video games, mostly Resident Evil, and honestly, the movie we watched this week was 3 hours long. Come on, what do you want from me?
All right, Chaz, what the hell you been watching, playing, or doing? I know you played Resident Evil, but was there anything else?
Oh yeah, I did a ton of stuff. So we'll start with Pokemon cards. It's the easy thing to scratch off. The newest set, Scarlet Violet, is coming out on Friday, and pre-releases are happening. So I went to a pre-release event. Actually, I did a huge daddy daughter day. Evie and I did a bunch of stuff. We played some video games, which I'll get to in a second. Went to a little event, and then we played in pre-release. And in the very first pack, I opened this. That is Alt Art Gardevoir
Waifu
EX.
Pokemon.
Yeah, which really cool because they're doing the little trainer art series again in the gallery arts, and they did a gallery for each of its evolutions, and it's the little girl got the Ralts, and then she's a little older and she has a curly, and now she's an older lady, and the Gardevoir's still with her. It's really cute, family friendly type of thing. It's also the second most expensive card in the entire set, so I was pretty happy about that. So it was definitely worth my pre-release, and I also got to kick some butt. I got to actually play Pokemon, which is fun. So I won the first 2 rounds, and then my third round opponent and I drew because my daughter was ready to leave. She had watched enough Bluey on my phone.
Yeah.
So that was that, but it was fine. And I got a couple more packs, opened a bunch of crap, but that was worth it. Since we're talking about her, she and I played and beat Sonic 2.
Fuck yeah.
So
Yeah.
so we've got the first achievement there.
You
Yeah,
beat
she
it,
kept.
no less. 'Cause
We beat
beating
it.
that game is hard for an adult.
Yeah, so we beat it together. She's playing as Invincible Tails, of course. Yeah, we got to the part where the infamous part where you have to face Metal Sonic and then fight Robotnik in the space thing after, and she's like, "That guy's fat and mean. Why won't he leave us alone?"
That's the whole plot of those games for 4 games.
Very observant.
Basically, this fat guy, he's just really mean to the animals. But we did that. We played some Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because she loves Spider-Man. So we did that, and then we met the Paw Patrol at a children's museum. That's where a really awkward thing happened, which I'll tell off screen. We'll talk about that later. Other things, we watched Wreck-It Ralph, which I think I talked about the sequel. If it's funny, I watched the sequel with them, but she wanted to watch the first one again. I hadn't watched it with them yet, but we watched it. I really like the first one more than the second. I think the first one's pretty funny.
The first one's better.
It just has a lot more tie-ins and references to stuff, which is good. And just nonsensical stuff. I think the dumbest thing, but it's so funny, is the candy-based stuff, and there's the Oreos that Oreo. It's just stupid, but it's a fun little movie to watch. We enjoy it. I played all of 15 more minutes of Metroid Prime. It's funny. I play basically I take a shit and I play 15 minutes and then I stop and I never come back to it because something else happens. I've played a fair amount of Overwatch 2. I've just been enjoying playing that game. I had a group of friends we play with, but I've been playing solo too. And I've been racking up quite a few of the good games and playing the games that I've kept recorded. I had an entire flank team kill with Reaper where I get to do the cool thing that looks really neat online where I just jump in and go die, die, die. I spin in a circle and everyone just dies and then we move on and I look like I'm a badass and it's because I was sneaky. So I've been watching Boruto. The big
Not done with it still?
No, I'm 100 I think I'm on 102 or something like that.
I guess apparently it's more of that show than I thought.
Well, apparently in at least the sub, they are on episode 292. It just recently came out, and people are like, "This is the greatest episode of all time of all anime," and people are pissed. The DBZ fans are on Reddit going, "How dare you compare it? It's nothing like that." And I mean, what I'm watching right now is kind of filler anyway, but the story's fine. I'm just watching it, but anyway, the thing I saved for last was I started The Last of Us. More impressively, I managed to convince my wife to watch it.
Oh, the TV show.
Oh, sorry, I should have clarified with the show. So, I've played the first game. I plan on playing the second. I may go back and play the first one again. I don't know yet. But we're watching the show. I'm going to save any comments I have about it more just to wait until I finish the actual season.
Yeah, it's better to do that because, when you're watching each episode, you're just like, oh, they got from point A to point B. Yay.
And right. Well, I get it. I think it's one of those things, too. This is a very like at least what I've watched so far, because we've only spent like I think we watched the first 2 episodes back to back, and then we watched episode 3, and we got like 10 minutes into episode 4, and then had to like call it quits because Evie like woke up and freaked out or something. So, but what I've noticed, it is a very bingeable show. Like it is very appropriate for being able to just binge and watch because of like how each thing happens. But yes, I'll like I said, I'll reserve any opinion I have for now until the end. But I'm currently on that journey.
What
That's
episode are you on?
again, I'm like I got like 10% of the way through the episode 4.
Okay.
Yep.
Episode 4 was fine. It was like after they started doing shit, I was like, oh, this is cool.
They started
Yeah,
doing shit.
I have. I mean, I've watched 3 episodes. And I'm gonna sound really dumb, which part of this is my meds. I don't have to explain it or excuse it, so I'm not afraid of or ashamed of my emotions. But I definitely cried during 2 of the 3 episodes so far. But again, I'm more of that's just depending on the mood or whatever. But again, playing the game, and it's totally one of those like if you're a parent, it hits you different or whatever bullshit, that whole thing. But I played the original game. The first episode hits pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
But again, it's supposed
Sarah
to.
always does that.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Yeah.
I know you said
So.
you're gonna hold off on your opinion, but the whole Sarah thing, like, what's great about the video game and the TV show is that they spend time milking that. You're just like in the video game, you're just like, why am I walking as a child? I thought I was this old dude and shit.
Oh
And then-
yeah, it hurt. It's rough.
And then it's rough when it actually happens. And in the show, you're learning the chemistry between Joel and Sarah and how they're like their humor and stuff. And then it hits the same way again. And just the way that was shot, like how they're, in the car and they're like, oh, why don't we get those people? And they're like, no, we can't fucking take them. And it's great. But like, I'll wait until you finish it and stuff. The last thing I'll say is Ashley Johnson, who was the voice actress for Ellie, I believe does a better job delivering the lines than Bella Ramsey, but that's just me being biased on that.
Well, this is an HBO show. They just yell "fuck" a lot. That's just an HBO show. That just comes with anything that's on HBO.
That's the video game they say "fuck" a lot, but it's just
sure, but it feels more better. It feels more like it has that peppered in, like, oh, we can use this on HBO because we're HBO, so we're just going to pepper in an F word. It's a sentence enhancer, as SpongeBob would say.
And Troy Baker is a better voice actor than an actor, by the way. And Ashley Johnson's also in it, and she's both a good voice actor and an actress in the show. So I was like, cool. But Troy Baker, bad actor in IRL, in my opinion.
Womp.
It's okay. Yep, some of us have a face for radio, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I have a face for radio. Because
he's fat!
That's all I got.
All right, Zach, what the hell you been watching, playing, or doing?
Well, we talked about Resident Evil 4. That's all I'm playing right now, so there's nothing else to say there. I watched John Wick 4 this weekend.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. I like it just as much as the other ones. It does seem like it's definitively over now.
Oh, no, it's not. There's a 5 coming if they're talking about it.
How? After I saw this movie, I don't know how the fuck they can.
This is the new Fast and the Furious. I'm calling it. There's going to be like 10 of them.
Well, you'll see, if you ever watch it, you'll see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have much else to say because, like, I still think the first one is the best one, and I like the other 2 that came after it and this one, but they kind of just feel like the same to me almost. Like it's just more of that stuff, and it's still good. So, but also wanted to shout out. I watched a video from this is YouTube stuff from Avalanche Reviews. He did a new video about modern Resident Evil clones.
Yes, I watched that. It was really good.
And there was a lot of really good fucking games on there. It looked good indie games that look awesome.
I wrote it down. I want to play them.
One of them is like, I swear to God, it was that first one he did. It was like a Dreamcast game. It was like a brand new Dreamcast game. It's like if you ever heard of a game called Deep Fear, imagine that with like the chick from Dino Crisis, and it's like it was made on the Dreamcast.
Mhm.
Same kind of graphics and stuff. And like the biggest takeaway from that video is the early 3D kind of PS1 aesthetic is in now. Everybody's trying to aim for that to the point to where they're trying to like recreate the dithering effect on the graphics to some varying degrees of success. I'd say it's better than what everybody tries for like a CRT filter. That's all over the place. What everybody's interpretation of that is. But there are 2 games in that video that straight up just look like Silent Hill 1. Like it's like these people meticulously tried to recreate like that look, and they pretty much succeeded, and it's awesome.
But they got to be careful though. Like when you do copy the aesthetic, it has to have a good story, and that's what's great about Silent Hill. Well, at least the first 3 are. Like those stories are just fucking good. But like if you have a shitty story and it has the aesthetic, I'm like, yeah, it's a great game to play, but I just don't give a shit about the characters.
We'll see. Honestly, just having a game is enough for me because I was starved for that kind of content for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So now
I'm a story person.
Now I'm eating good again. I mean, story's fine, but you know, it's not paramount in video games. Let's see. Also, I've been working on getting some color awards. They're pretty much locked. We're going to do an episode Thursday talking about our end of year awards.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm doing the Undertaker when he said, Christmas and shit, and making Yokozuna's fucking casket as small as possible.
He's trying to be economical with like his material use. But that's pretty much all I've done.
Do we have any news? I know Andy brought up that the store and Nintendo shop is dead.
That was news last week. Now it's nothing.
Too late. Rip.
Yeah, you done goofed.
I guess today they rescinded one small detail of it. They hadn't mentioned that, and I feel like people should have assumed this, but people were stupid. They rescind download codes don't work anymore because the shop closed. Why the hell would they? But a bunch of people were like, well, you didn't say that. So they turned it back on until April 3rd. So if you have a download code, like, just look at all your cases for your Wii U games and your 3DS and make sure that it wasn't like, oh, it comes with the DLC code. If you have a code like that, you have till April 3rd to redeem that. So they turned that back on. So I don't know. Maybe that'll help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Sega announced they're not going to E3 along with somebody else.
Yes.
Oh, Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft also said the same thing.
Guys, in the comments section on Couch Entertainment.
10 cents not going to.
Yeah. F's in the comments for E3. Everybody do a salute. Bye. I think it's finally dead. If they still do E3 with nobody there, who the fuck are they there for?
I mean, it's gonna be a bunch of like people selling gamer chairs, and that'll be it. Like
you remember those gel things for the fucking joysticks? Those type of people.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just gonna be just any old convention, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be,
Damn.
yeah.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. And I guess one news I could bring up. Apparently, Randy Quaid, the guy from Independence Day, who's like, "I'm back," and goes.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, he's a crazy person.
Apparently,
Yeah.
he's never been invited to a Comic-Con, but he is going to one soon. So if you want to see his crazy face, go see Randy Quaid.
Where?
I don't know, on Twitter he's like, I'm going to Comic-Con. I'm like, okay, where?
I was under the impression he could not enter the United States.
Apparently
he's got a few things there. He's got
Canadian
a
Comic Con, eh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It must be in like Vancouver or Toronto or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, Zach, just repeat the movie that we're going to be talking about next week because I always butcher shit.
Once Upon a Time in the West.
There you go.
Yeah.
Make sure you watch that and then come back here and we will discuss it. Also, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new, hit subscribe button. On twitch.tv/JoeDubs35. I'm going to be playing some games. I bought Streamlabs OBS, their like subscription plan, and they give you like a lot of tools and overlays and shit. So I have some overlay that I'm going to be using. So if you see me stream, I will be using that. But until next time, guys, we will see you next Tuesday. Peace.
Thanks for listening.
I have a question for God. Why?